What up, guys? Jason Guyman here with King of Pressure Wash and Christmas Lights. I'm on both channels. And so tonight, I'm going to talk with Chris about how to get your average ticket up and what are you in for business for, right? What is the reason you have a business and what is your why? We're going to kind of hit on a bunch of these different things, but the biggest thing is how that you can be successful in your pressure washing, Christmas light business, service business, whatever this might be. And so that is what we will be hitting on. But before we get there, I've been actually reading this book. This is a book that I would highly recommend. This is one of the top books that is on the top of probably up there with E-Myth. E-Myth and right along with Think and Grow Rich. It's one of those books that you should read. And I've actually been reading this book because I'm actually doing 75 hard. And if you don't know what 75 hard is, you got to read 10 pages because otherwise I'm not a big book reader. But it's kind of neat when you actually read and you start understanding a little bit and you tell yourself you're not a book reader. In reality, you kind of enjoy it when you're older and don't even realize it anymore. But with that said, it's called Buy Back Your Time. It is definitely a great book that you should go out, check it out, read it, and go from there with that. So with that, let's get this show on the road. Chris, just for people that may not know who you are, where you are, what you do, who's your family, why you, whatever, just tell me your backstory, just a quick 20-second, 30-second backstory.
Chris Johnson. I am actually out of the Myrtle Beach, South Carolina area. Married, beautiful wife named Heather. My daughter, got two beautiful grandkids now. Man, we're just loving life. We actually own an exterior cleaning company. We do houses, roofs, just like everybody on here does. And then I also own a coaching business where I coach small businesses and even executive and CEO C-level corporations in leadership and sales training.
So you know how to sell a little bit is what you're saying then.
I've been blessed and I've learned and I've studied a lot to do that.
You've been blessed and you've definitely learned a lot. Now, let's talk a little bit about, well, let's just open it up. This is going to be not your normal podcast of me back and forth. I just kind of want to open it up and, we can talk about whatever of how you can grow your business and kind of what we were talking before we got started. So let's just start it this way. What's on you? What do you want to kind of make sure that people understand by the end of this podcast?
So there are three things that you should all focus on. And the problem is with small businesses, you get the shiny syndrome, and it's a dopamine hit that we all seek.
No way. There's no way.
Oh, yeah. I do too.
Squirrel syndrome?
Yeah. And it'll kill you. It's killed me. It's hurt me. It's hurt Jason. It's hurt everybody that has ever fallen prey to it, even in corporate America. I was in Pepsi for 10 years, and I watched people make decisions and buy and implement things that slowed down productivity to literally a screeching halt to try to learn a new thing that there was nothing wrong with the thing we had. So let me give you three things that I want you to think about as we go through tonight's talk. There's only three you need to worry about. One is lead generation. How do you get leads? If you don't get leads, your company will go out of business. Number two is lead conversion. If you can't convert the leads through the ability to sell, your business will go out of business. Number three, if you can't do a client fulfillment, then your company will go out of business if you're not giving the quality service that you sold and that you got a call due to referrals, 5-star reviews, whatever the reason was they called you. If they don't get that client fulfillment, you'll lose that customer too.
So
And
wait a
you'll
minute,
let
wait a
them.
minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. You're telling me I don't need all of this equipment and all of this, all these lights and all of this. These are the three things I need to worry about more than that.
Yeah, so yes, now equipment's a big deal. Lights are big. All this stuff's a big deal at the right time. I was talking with a fella here locally with me. He'd been running a 4 gallon a minute machine, and he was trying to break into commercial. And I said, man, don't do it until you get an 8 gallon a minute machine, because you have to charge so little on commercial versus residential. You have to make it up in time. And if you got a 4 gallon a minute machine, you can't make it up in time. So, hey man, start out, it doesn't matter. I've got some of my coaching clients are out in Dallas, Texas, and I don't know if they're watching this or not. I may send it to them. And what blesses my heart is they started with nothing. And I said, go buy you a Lowe's pressure washer, man. Go get you something small, but get your EIN number, get your business name, get your logo, get your business cards, get some yard signs. And they've done all these things before they ever made a dollar, but now they're set up to run a business. So much better than spending 60 grand on equipment and have no customers. I had one of my fellows here locally do that. I told him not to do that, and he did it. And today, he is still paying a payment on equipment sitting in his yard, and it breaks my heart because he bought something that he didn't need. Wasn't right time.
So
So
let's
yeah, guys, that's
let's
it.
let's start at number one, leads. Right? If you can't get the phone ringing, it doesn't do you no good. Correct?
Right, you got to have phone ringing.
So, and if you don't have the phone ringing, what are some ways that, and this is a question I get a lot for either, it doesn't matter if we're talking Christmas lights or pressure washing. It is one that you get asked in any of the businesses of what are ways to get the phone ringing. So, what are some ways? Obviously, I push a lot of the digital side of things, but some of that, it takes time, right? Your Google reviews, we get all that. And yes, your phone will blow up if you do those things. But that's not going to blow up in the very beginning. You got to actually, I was, as I was walking today, because I'm doing 75 hard, and I was thinking about something, and I actually posted it on Facebook. I posted two things on Facebook today that I was hitting on, that it just kind of hit me like a ton of bricks of the two. Basically, I want to read it what I wrote so that way I don't mess it up, because I probably would mess it up because that's how I am. But it was the thing that I was thinking about was how you can why do people fear? Why do people fear, basically? And so as I was thinking about it is getting what you want ain't easy, right? That was one of the things I posted this morning. If you want something, you got to go out there and get it. If you want to grow a business to $100,000, it's not just going to show up in your lap. It's not going to happen, right? And so if you want it, you got to do hard things. And for a lot of people, I've got Daniel doing Christmas lights, and he did $179,000 his very first year doing Christmas lights. This year, he's already got over $400,000 booked in his Christmas light business. And people are always asking him, how did you do it? How do you do it? And it's the same way you do pressure washing in there. He gets up, picks up the phone, and makes 25 to 30 calls a day. And that's how he's closing it. Now, people will tell me that I don't know how to do that. I'm scared. Well, as I've been doing this here, I did a live earlier today too. And, I did the live, and what I was doing is I was talking about how when I first started doing 75 hard 4 days ago, I could barely do a couple push-ups and a couple pull-ups. But as I've been doing it every day, I'm up to 40 push-ups and I'm up to 5 pull-ups. Now, that's not a lot, but it's 40 more than I was able to do 4 days ago, right? And so that is what That was the other thing I posted this morning is don't let excuses kill your dreams. Talk to me.
So hard things are not hard to do. They're hard to get started. And so a lot of times, so take for instance, you watch your children, or remember back, or just watch somebody else's kids. Uh, when the kid is crawling, and you try to get them to walk, they hesitate, they repel it, they don't want to do it. They're comfortable crawling. But once the trigger flips and they actually know, if I stand up, I can go over there faster, guess what they never do again? Crawl. They despise crawling. They don't want to crawl. You're not going to get them to crawl. Once you can learn to run, most kids you see outside playing are running. They ain't walking, because they know I can run faster over there than walking. And walking is way faster than crawling. And so that's the same thing in your companies. There's two types of things you need to look at here. And if I had picture this is the ground, and up under the ground is where all the roots are, right? And that's called the gravitropic nature. And so when a tree grows, it has to grow both ways, above ground and below ground. It's the only way it can sustain itself. Now, here's what nobody thinks about. The root system in a tree has to grow before the tree comes out where you can see it. That's the phototropic nature of a tree. It grows toward the sunlight. The gravitropic nature, it grows toward gravity. It goes down. Guys, in your companies, you've got to go down before you can grow up and be seen. Now, here's what I mean by that. It's the putting the yard signs out when nobody sees you. It's the sending the emails when it's not fun anymore. It's going door to door knocking when it's raining outside and you really don't know what you're doing and you really don't feel like doing it and you're really scared to death for doing it. The more of those reps that you can get in that nobody sees, nobody's bragging on you, that will build your root system. Your sustainability is in those areas. And then when you start to blossom on the top side of the soil and the phototropic nature of your vine starts getting some vitamin D and some sunlight and some traction, and you're growing a leaf, and now you're growing a bud, and now you got a little fruit hanging off your elbows, and some people are starting to say yes, and you just closed a $350 job, and now you've closed a $500 job. Now you just closed a $5,000 week, and you just hit your first $10,000 month. Guys, that's not the stuff to brag about, because that's just the fruit of the root. See, if you never build the root, you'll never taste the fruit. That's the reality of it.
That's a shirt right there. So, it's putting in the reps, right? It's putting in the reps, and the fruit will come from it. And a lot of people just want the fruit they want the tree to just be up there and never go from the roots and put in the hard work for it, right? I know Jason Hefner, he's always out there on a Saturday morning putting out those yard signs, right? Because he knows that's what's going to get him business. He knows that's what's going to grow his business. He's $250,000 on a part-time job. That's how much he makes, and that's what he does, and that's the reason why. And so as we do this, hit the like button. And if I've helped you or Chris has helped you, share it out in some of the Facebook groups or anywhere that way that other people can understand it and learn it, and maybe they'll help. Maybe they can start growing too. But again, oh yeah, where's the easy button at? Yeah, where is the easy button at, Chris? Can you tell me where the easy button is?
It don't exist. It just don't exist. I can tell you where the easy button is. I can. And it'll be the hardest life you've ever lived. Give up, do nothing, wait on everybody else to provide for you, and go to the homeless shelter to pick up your meal, bum $5 at the convenience store. That's as easy as you can get it. And it's the most miserable life you'll ever live.
Yeah.
I'd rather do the opposite.
So Chris actually had a 9 to 5 when he worked at Pepsi, and they wouldn't let him go no higher because he didn't have one of them educations, you know, and so he didn't have a college degree. He got a high school one, but he didn't have a college degree, and so you were making $80,000-$90,000 a year and getting by and doing that, but. You know, and here's the thing too. I always tell people owning your own business isn't easy. There is no easy button. You know, if you watch a YouTube person and they tell you how to make this money and it's just going to be super easy, it's not. I promise you. You know, and if you're not learning and growing, you'll never get to where you want to be at. And so, you know, Chris has been in the business probably longer than anybody out there. As a business, it was more of a, I don't know what he was in the beginning, but he really didn't make money until about 4 or 5 years ago when he actually got training, right? Because otherwise you just knew everything all the way up to then, and then you got training. So number one is leads, and I agree 100%. You got to have leads. If you don't get leads, you might as well not even go out and buy the equipment, because if you can't get the leads, there's no reason to go get equipment. And so if you got to do boots on the ground and go door knocking, right? You go door knocking. If you want to grow a business, you go door knocking until you can buy yard signs. And then when you buy yard signs, you know, I always hear people tell me, well, the yard signs didn't work. I'm like, how many did you put out? Well, I put out 25 over a month and they don't work. When you were in your yard sign and you were putting them out, how many yard signs were you putting out a month last year?
We consistently put out 200 a month.
So 50 yard signs a month. Now, here's the thing. 200.
200 a month.
50 signs a week is what I was trying to.
Yeah, 50 a week.
I never said I was great at math. But you know, but that's the thing. You were consistent, you were prolific, and you were relentless, right? And but Chris, they pull up my yard signs. What did you do when they pulled them up?
Put new ones back. Put them back. Put them back. Put them back. You know, and you just got to determine that you're not going to surrender. You're not going to quit, and you're going to finish the course. You know, and the second thing is the lead conversion. So when the phones ring, there is a debate, I guess you could say, on which is more important, marketing or sales. I think sales is more important, but that's because I'm a sales guy. And here's the thing. I can go get jobs with zero marketing. That's what a real salesman does, by the way, guys. If all you're doing is going and talking to people that call you, you're not a sales guy. You're a lead chaser. A genuine sales guy or salesperson will go generate a sale with zero leads. I can do that almost any day of the week because I talk to people everywhere I go. And if you're a salesperson, that is what you do. And then when you get the phone to ring, that's just a bonus, man. Because now I'm talking to people that are warm and they called me specifically for what I do, whereas if I'm going to sell to a cold a cold lead, just a dude standing in Walmart line, or a guy at church, or wherever. That's a cold conversation that's much harder to win. It's much harder to facilitate that. But if you can do that, if you can do cold calling lead generation on your own, that's what's going to help you get the reps to where when the actual lead comes in that's hot, man, you can smoke that one. Because you've gotten the reps on the hard things, the things that aren't easy, the things that aren't, they're not just coming to you. They don't want a house wash. They don't want what you're offering. And you're able to walk through the reps and get told 100 no's. But you're going through the reps. Go through the reps. Go through the reps. Learn how to convert people. Then when you start getting the leads, man, those become super easy now, because I've already done a bunch of these and got told no. Well, these people actually want what I have. Oh, this is butter at this point.
So what are some tips? Say, man, Chris, I'm just starting my business. I'm not good at sales. I don't like to talk to people. What are some things that a person like that I'm talking about, what are some things that they can do to start helping them build their confidence, and some tips for them?
One thing that's going to help you is to do it. Okay. Like, that's the most simplest thing I can give you, is go do it.
But Chris, I got butterflies in my stomach, my hair standing up on the back of my head. I start stuttering when I start thinking about this.
Do it. If you can't do it, then you'll never do it. Like I can't give you any better recipe than go do the reps. Jason talked about a while ago 75 hard. He couldn't do a pull-up. I'm a pretty muscular dude. I don't know if I could do 5 pull-ups.
Well, I don't know if you'd be able to reach the bar, would be the first problem.
Well, you had to give me a stool. But honestly, I don't know that I could do 5 pull-ups, and it's because I've not done them in 30 years.
Right.
But if you do the rep, if you do the thing, if you try to do the thing, I'll tell you how to start. Here's an easy way to start, guys. You ready? Cold calling. And all you got to do while you're standing in line at Walmart or at the Dollar General or at Macy's or at Dillard's, wherever you are, have a card in your pocket and turn to the person behind you and say, "Hey, how are you today?" And they're going to say, "I'm doing fine," or, at least I'm living, whatever they're going to say, right?
All right. So tip 1, I'm going to hit on something here, because you just gave a tip and you didn't even give it away here. Is he smiled and he had an awesome attitude, right? He wasn't, here's a card, right? He smiled and just said, "Hey, how are you doing? And here's a card."
That's it. And how are you doing? You just start talking to people that you don't know randomly. "Hey, how are you today? Man, it's a beautiful day. Hey, you live around here? Just curious." I know I live in a tourist town, right? Myrtle Beach. So I always have to, that's my first thing I start with. "Hey, do you live right here? Or you on vacation?" "Oh man, we got a second house here, and we're from Ohio." "Man, you've got a second house here, man. That has got to be amazing. That is super cool. Man, you should be proud that you're able to provide your family a second house and you don't have to rent a motel and all this stuff. Man, how does that feel? That's gotta be cool." And I'll let him talk.
So tip 2 is let them talk.
Yeah. Let them talk. And you're standing in line. So this is not a 10-minute conversation. It's a 2-minute conversation. It's a 30-second conversation. And then, oh, by the way, I almost forgot. "Hey, can I give you a card? We wash houses for a living. And if you ever get the green mold and mildew and stuff on your driveway, especially on your deck or your porch, especially if you rent it, because a lot of times that stuff will cause it to get really slick when it's moisture in the air, and you are at the beach, so there's moisture always in the air. And if you rent it and somebody fail, man, they could probably sue you. But that probably don't happen a lot. But if you ever see that, just give me a call.
So we're not selling that we have this amazing equipment. We're selling a solution. And this is the same way with Christmas lights or permanent lighting or any of this. We are selling a solution. We are selling the magic. We are selling security. We're not selling the pressure washing at the end of it.
You're creating a problem very, very quickly and offering a solution. See, nobody wants what you have unless it solves a problem that they need solved. You understand? That's how I sell my coaching. That's how I sell my pressure washing. You have a problem. I have the solution. I would love to offer it to you at a value. And if the customer understands, that's how you convert people. Then you've got to go to the client fulfillment. Then you've got to actually do what you say you're going to do. And guys, this is where a lot of people drop the ball. This is where 85% of people I know drop the ball. They sell this great vision and dream. They overcommit and underdeliver. I have been guilty myself. And I've had my men call me and say, Chris, you told this homeowner we could remove blank and we can't get it off. And I've had to refund money for certain, like rust that was too deep, whatever, a spot on a porch that I was like, yeah, we can get that right up for you. No problem at all. And we couldn't. And I have to take that off the bill. So when you do client fulfillment, think about it from starting that at the sales process. Don't over deliver in the sale just to close the deal and then you can't fulfill what you said you'd fulfill. Don't do that. And I say the same thing to guys around here locally. They're like, hey, we committed to this commercial building, but you're not equipped to do it. You don't have the manpower to do it. Don't bid it. Don't do it. That's opposite to what Jason believes. That's my personal opinion. I don't even want to bid something if I can't do it. Because if I can't do it and I don't know how to do it, but yet I sub it out to a guy that says he could do it and he can help me with it, and if he messes up, guess what? Now I look like a fool because I'm the one that bid the job. And so I just say tread lightly. Always be thinking, can I fulfill the obligation they're paying me for? And always err on the side of caution. And if I don't know that I can, then don't sell it.
Under promise, over deliver.
That's it, guys. And if you do that, you get the 5-star reviews, you get the referrals. We have not marketed our company since January 1st. Now, we do have, in all transparency, a very small Google ad running. I think it's doing maybe like $100 a day or $200 a day. It's not much of nothing. And we get 1 to 2 calls a day off that probably. But we've not put no yard signs out. We've not done no Everdoor direct mail, no flyers, nothing. And we're getting returning customers and referrals and people looking us up on the internet, and their verbiage is, we read your reviews and they were outstanding and we want your company to serve our home. That's it. Now, we've been doing this a little while. We didn't start yesterday. I wouldn't recommend that if you were starting yesterday. That's just our story. And I did that because I wanted to see how much actual business I could create from my current base without marketing. Like, what would my root business be?
So, the fulfillment is number 3, which is very important, right? And that goes all the way from the phone call all the way to the end. I
Yeah.
mean that I would consider that the customer journey, right? The
Yeah.
fulfillment is the customer journey.
And I
Um,
have on my wall, I have a customer roadmap on my wall. I almost want to take you off my little computer and see if I don't even know if it'll see that far. Let's see. Does it? Yeah,
yeah,
right there.
yeah,
So I have a whole customer roadmap. Um, I usually don't show my whole office because I ain't got my sheetrock up yet, but that's all right. This joker's still in new. It's still new. Hey, so we have the customer roadmap, and it tells you the whole journey of the customer's life cycle. Who's responsible for what part? The office, the operation, the sales guy. Everybody has their role on that roadmap. That it's their role when they touch the customer to give the client fulfillment.
right.
5-star service all the time.
And I love what Jeremy put here. A lot of reviews are about people, the communication, friendliness, not the work. That's what sells. And I would
Yeah.
agree 100% with that.
And so here's the game. Here's the game that we play. So I know the people I'm talking to. I know the industry that I'm in. It's not much different than a lot of other industries, but it's the industry that I'm part of, and so I'm going to deal with y'all. Okay, so I'm not going to throw stones at the people that I don't do work with. I'm going to throw stones at you because I know you, and most of you are doing what I'm fixing to say. Whether you admit it or not is irrelevant to me. I don't particularly care if you admit it. I just want you to change it. Okay, because I care about you and I want you to win. All right. So most people get into this business and they consider themselves an entrepreneur. And what's happened is they've left a job working 8 hours a day to go work for a lunatic for 16 hours a day and barely get paid anything. We just come out of an $80,000 month. You understand? And for 3 weeks, I ain't got a paycheck because, like an idiot, I scheduled all this commercial work back to back to back to back, and they don't pay. You follow what I'm saying? It's 36 days. So I just got a paycheck this week. Had to make 3 weeks worth of paycheck up in 1 week. But here's what I'm saying: you don't understand the amount of work that it takes to run a business, but you step into a business with hopes and dreams. Well, here's what I want to tell you: the game is way too difficult. Listen to me right here, please. Please, my name is Chris. I'm your friend, and I want to help you. The game you just stepped into is way too difficult to not make money. If you offer low profits and you have low volume because you're just getting started, you're working yourself to death. You can't have both of those and build a huge business. Sam Walton was one of the richest, or was the richest man in the world. Sam Walton has low profits, but incredibly high volume. You can't have low profits and low volume and expect to win at this industry or any other industry. The problem is it didn't cost you a lot of money to get in this industry, and therefore you think, well, I can make it if all I'm doing is $100 an hour or $150 an hour, or as long as I make $300 a day, I'm okay. You've got to change the way you look at life. You got to change the way you look at your personal value time. Your time is worth more than that. You're not working a 9 to 5. You are literally working to sustain your family, and you're wearing all the hats. And guys, don't short yourself. Don't cheat yourself. If there's anything you can hear from me tonight, stop cheating you. Here's what you do when you say, I'm going to offer low prices. I'm going to be the lowest guy in town. I'm going to beat everybody. Here's what you say. Now, this is hardcore because I had to say this to one of my clients the other day that I coach. And it didn't feel good saying it, and I know it didn't feel good hearing it. You're telling me that you would rather rob from your wife, your children, your teammates, and take the advantage of success away from them to give a good deal to somebody that you do not know. They will not come to your funeral. They particularly don't care if your wife eats or not. That's real talk. But you would rather give a good deal to somebody that can fire you tomorrow and hire a cheaper guy. I just had this happen, by the way. I'm not mad at the guy that won the job. I'm mad at the person that gave it to him. I served a client for 3 years, and for $500, they left me and went to another competitor. He's a good dude, man. He's going to do a great job. But over $500 on a $9,000 apartment, $9,000 over $500, they dropped me like a bad habit. My family is worth more than that. My teammates are worth more than that. Guys, don't rob from you, your wife, your children, and your teammates and the growth of your company to give a huge discount just so you can say, well, I was able to get some work today. Baby, we made $200 today. Don't do that. You're worth more than
Let's go down that road, because I feel like a lot of people don't believe that they're worth what they should be worth, or they don't understand what they could be worth. You know, as I was saying earlier before we got on this call, it's as hard to get a $300 job as it is to get a $3,000 job. It takes the same amount of work to get a $300 job as it does a $3,000. I don't care if I'm talking pressure washing, Christmas lights, any service business, right? It takes the exact same amount of work. The $300 person, you'll get more callbacks. You'll have more issues. You will hate your life with the $300 person versus the $3,000 person.
Yeah.
And this is fact. This isn't me making stuff up. This is fact. Not only that, I can do one job for $3,000, or it takes me 10 of these pain in the butt customers to make me $3,000, and my profit isn't going to be nowhere near where it needs to be at when I do 10 jobs, right? So, with that, this is why it is important, and I love what Jeremy put here, because all of these things are what keep you from believing that you are worth the $3,000, the $2,000. Poor mindset, self-limiting beliefs, set your goals huge, right? So, as you were hitting on this, what are some ways that we can help overcome the poor mindset and the self-limiting beliefs to be able to get, you know, a lot of people, Alex Hormozy always says this, that, you know, everybody will call all their competitors and they'll get their competitors' prices, the one or two person that finally answered their phone or finally got back to you a week later. And then we're going to charge cheaper than them, and we're going to do a better job than them. But what we don't realize is they're ready to go out of business. And so we're building our pricing on other things. Because I hear it all the time. Well, Jason, you just don't understand. You can't get it in my area. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, I understand it. You just don't believe in yourself. So what are some things people can do that can take steps to help them with overcoming that mindset?
So a lot of it is who you surround yourself with. Examine your inner circle. Look at your 5 closest friends. I mean, everybody says this, and it is true though. You are the sum of your 5 closest friends. So I was at an event this week, at a alternative school, almost a school prison is what I was at, literally without bars and barbed wire. But it's a prison. It's a public prison for young people that have made mistakes, and they end up in this school for 6 to 10 weeks, and then they go back. And I got to talk to a couple hundred of these students for 4 hours. One-on-one conversations throughout a 4-hour period. Multiple people just come by my little table and I could talk to them. And what I found for the most part was all of them, it was a friend issue. They had the wrong friends. And they did something stupid because friends were egging them on to do it. No different in the pressure washing company or any other company. Take a company that opens a business in a strip mall. Just walk down a strip mall and look. Walk down through the mall and look at the window of each retail store. They all have the same thing. A mannequin with a little outfit on and a pair of shoes. Nobody's different. Nobody stands out. And that's what you have to do, guys. You have to figure out a way to be different. Now, I can't give you that recipe on this call. There's only 19 minutes left on this call tonight. But you have to figure out a way to make yourself stand out and be different. You got to change the books you read, the stuff you watch on TV. If all you watch on TV is CNN or Fox News, I'm a double news hater here, right? I don't care what news it is. It's all a bunch of reprobate morons that we'd be better off if they all were gone. But you will get depressed if all you watch is the news all day. You will literally think gloom and doom, and there's no hope, and everything's over. That's not true. Life is so great, and there's so much abundance. And think about it. God gives us the abundant lifestyle. I want to give you a thought, and this ain't an original thought with me. This is from a guy called Myron Goldman. But in the Garden of Eden, Satan was the only created thing that got Eve and Adam looking at what they couldn't have. Now, he said you could eat of every tree. That's abundant, man. Like, they could eat everything they wanted. But just this one little thing, just don't do it. And that's all that she focused on from the moment it was introduced to her. You have been programmed since your birth to focus on lack, to focus on what you don't have, to focus on what your neighbor has that you can't have, to focus on why the boy at school has better shoes than you do. You've been programmed that way by your school, by your parents, and by your government. But guys, I'm here to tell you, if you will change your friends, change the inputs. You see all the books behind me? I've got books, and this whole thing back here is books. If you will change the input, you will get a different output. If what you don't like coming out of your body, and if you don't like your current state of whatever that is, you don't like your marriage, you don't like your relationships, you don't like your relationship with the Lord, you don't like your faith, you don't like your business, you don't like your employees. If you will start changing things that come into you, it will give you a different output on every one of those situations. Sales is a learnable skill. Leadership is a learnable skill. Being a friend to somebody is a learnable skill. These are learnable skills. But if you're not willing to learn them, then you'll never be able to apply them. And it's really that simple. It's not hard. Just got to change a few things. That's all.
So, again, the people you're around are going to affect who you are, period. I mean, that's just the way it is. It doesn't matter if you're 20. It doesn't matter if you're 40. It doesn't matter if you're 60. It doesn't matter if you're 80. You know, and that's the reason why you need to be around people that are way where you want to be at. You know, if you want to be successful, get around successful people. That's what you got to do. Otherwise, you're going to attract those types of people, and you won't be it. Tristan is a big fan of I Know Chris, so you don't become confident by shouting affirmations in the mirror, but you have to stack up undeniable proof that you are who you say you are. And you know what's cool about Tristan is I don't know if he actually got it all the way the deal through, but he just bought his third rental property before he is 25 years old. So that is what is awesome about Tristan. So one thing, energy either attracts or detracts or compounds 100%. So before we jump off here, I'm actually doing a in-person training for Christmas lights. It's going to be the advanced class, and Chris is actually going to be speaking, one of the speakers there. Another person that's on the live tonight, I seen him here, who is amazing at that is amazing at door knocking. Like, he is probably one of the best people I've seen do door knocking. Is Steven, and they do a lot of sales in Utah by door knocking, and so he will be there also. But there is a lot of speakers that are going to be there to be putting into it. And you know, I know a lot of people are like, I don't want to spend the money. I don't want to invest in myself. And you know what I always tell people is I will about guarantee you that you will 10x the money that you put into this training. By the people that are going to be there, you're going to have Chris, you're going to have Ryan Lee, you're going to have Dustin Howell, who does amazing at systems. He runs about 4 or 5 businesses. I think it's like 5 or 6 businesses. All very, very, very successful. Paul Gardner is going to be there. He does over about $14 million a year. He owns about 4 or 5 businesses. Again, do you want to be around people that you want to be like in the future, or do you want to hang around nobodies, right? And so Chris is going to be there. I'm going to be there. But with that, what are some things that you will be pushing in your sales of how to do sales better?
So I'm basically going to come out and I'm going to give you introductory sales qualities. And these are for advanced guys. These are for seasoned veterans, because a lot of times what happens to us, we forget the basics and we continuously compound our knowledge and we get better and better at it. But then sometimes we'll forget the basics, the simple stuff that works. And that's what I'm going to bring to the table when I come to Utah, is a refreshing appetite for the basics. Guys, sales are so basic. And literally, here's one of the things to sales. Here's one of the caveats, okay? You've just got to get somebody to be willing to take what you're offering, and they need it worse than they need their money. And if I can get somebody to understand that what I'm offering them is more valuable to them than their money, I win. They win. It's not a win-win. I don't believe in a win-win, because somebody's always going to have the upper deck. Somebody's always going to have the upper hand. But it's a win for both parties in their mind. And see, guys, sales is so simple. See, what we do in sales, I know we only got like 11 minutes left, but here's a real simple thing, guys. And I know there's some guys on here, there's 58 people watching this, and I know some of y'all aren't my fans, and I don't really care about that either. It's true what I'm saying. You can't dispute it. Don't argue with me. I will prove you wrong. Sales is basically offering someone what they need or want in return for their money. See, here's where you mess up. You're trying to offer somebody what you want. See, I'm not my customer. I wouldn't buy my product because I wouldn't spend $3,000 to wash my house.
Or put Christmas lights on.
No, not at all. But I'm not the one who wants it. They do. And so, see, you've got to quit selling what you think you would pay and what you think you would want. You wouldn't pay $10,000 for a Christmas light decoration in your yard. But I quoted one house last year for $19,000. I didn't win it, but he sure loved it. He just couldn't get his wife to sign off on it. But he loved it. He's like, man, that's incredible. God, if she would just get on board, man, we'd do this. I wouldn't pay $19,000. I wouldn't even want to hear a quote for $19,000. But he did. You got to learn it's about the customer. It's not about you.
Yep, agree 100%. And so Randy said, this is very true. The training was excellent, made me 30X. And that would say most people would. This advanced cleaning, we will have permanent lighting in it too. That will be the last day of Saturday. The Friday or Thursday and Friday is going to actually be the speakers, and then the Christmas lights is going to be the last one. But yes, that is the one in Utah, for sure. So, Chris, before we jump off here, I know someone else posted this, but it probably isn't the right fit for them. They had asked a question here. I forget where it is now. It was way up here. I'm just getting my feet wet in Christmas light install and debating on starting an exterior. Can that be done simultaneously or pick a lane? Yes, it can be done because one is done in 1 year unless you're down south in it all. But this one here, I think if you're asking that question, this is probably not going to be the place that you want to talk about. But there might be someone on here that needs some Chris coaching. So give me a little spiel about your stuff.
So I do own a coaching consulting business. We do coach people. Small businesses, C-level executives, CEOs, and even corporations in leadership. And we do sales training and coaching. I do disc profiling, disc training, and that's what we do. I've got people in my coaching program that literally started from ground zero and have never made a dollar until they started in my coaching program. And then I've got guys in my coaching program that own their businesses and they do $4 to $5 million a year. And I'm their coach. And I train them in leadership, how to coach their people, how to train their people, how to get their people motivated. So it runs the gamut. You know what I mean? Like, we're from entry level all the way up. And if you want to get any information from me, I don't mind giving my number out because my number is my business thing, and I can give it out now. My number is 843-504-8035. Now, I will give a caveat to that. I do not just sit on the phone and talk to people because I'm bored. I'm not bored, and I don't have time to talk to you just because you're bored. So if you call me, understand, sometimes I'm not being rude sometimes, but you may not be as important as what I got going on. And I give my number out freely because I'm here to help you. I'm here to help people. But you got to understand, don't call me after 5 o'clock in the afternoon, ever. And don't call me before 8 o'clock in the morning. And during the day, if you call and I don't answer, leave a message. And I say that with all the respect in the world, but I guard my time, my family time. my morning times, that's time set aside for stuff.
Let's take that, because you take this very seriously of family time. Because otherwise, I love the idea that you do. Tell me about your coin in your pocket.
So I don't have it on me now. It is at the house. Because I walked out here in my pajamas and it was in my bedroom so we actually have a coin that's got praying hands on it, a cross, and the Bible. And it literally says Rivertown Rockstar on the back. And when I get home, that coin comes out of my pocket and it goes on the counter, because that's when it stops. Rivertown has to stop. You got to turn this stuff off, because it'll consume you. And it's consumed me for a lot of years. It's brought a lot of heartache, because it's 24/7 on our minds, but it's not on our wife's minds. And our kids sure don't want to hear it. So you got to turn it off. And that's what I do with the coin. And so when the coin comes home, I put it on my dresser. And that's my mindset to shift into husband role, dad role. Let's hang out.
If you didn't learn nothing else tonight, learn that right there. Because honestly, that's the whole reason why we are on a business, right? Is for our family. I'm a very big family man. I'm all about my kids. I go to I try to go to all my kids' games and everything, because guess what? They grow up. By the time they're 18, you will spend 85% of the time with them, and the rest of their life, you only spend 15. So don't take that time lightly. I promise you, you will not regret it. You can always make more money down the road. I promise you. You cannot make more time with your kids. And I'll tell you another thing. You might not have tomorrow with your kids. You may not have tomorrow with your parents. That is something that you need to make sure that you have quality time with them, and to do it. I actually had a guy at the firehouse before my dad passed away. About 3 years, he's like, you need to spend time with your dad. Spend time with your dad. I'm like, he's only 58, 59. Spend time with your dad. Spend time with your dad. 3 years later, he passed at 62 years old. And so that is time that I did spend with him, and that is something that you need to do with your kids and your parents. So I want to answer this question, and then we'll get off here. Just joining to keep it simple, to meet a goal of $2,000 per average ticket. Wouldn't it be just as simple as not taking a job below your goal? That's not necessarily the case. In fact, I would say the goal would be is to give a $4,000 bid on every job, and your average ticket will usually end up being around that $2,000, or half of whatever your average ticket that you're giving out. Would you not agree with that?
Yeah, because our average ticket last year was over $2,000. It was $2,072, and that was with a 62% close rate. This year, I just pulled my numbers while we were on here. My average ticket this year is $1,800, and my close rate is 62%. Now, if you look at my packages, okay, everything we do is package sales. That's a whole nother lesson. But my packages, most of them start around $2,800 to $4,000. Like, they start in that area. And I do sell a lot of package A's, but the package B's bring it down a little bit. But if you're not offering everything, and this is one thing I want to challenge you guys. We got a couple minutes left. If you're not offering everything you possibly could do for the customer, if you clean exterior windows with a water-fed pole and you're not offering exterior windows with your house wash, you're being a disservice to the customer and to yourself. If you know how to brighten gutters and you're not offering that every time they have gutters, if you can remove rust and there's rust on the driveway and you didn't quote that, you're being a disservice to the customer, because you can actually give the customer what they need and want. You're just not doing it because of fear of rejection. And I want you to understand, it's not a fear of it's not a rejection to you. It's a business transaction, guys. They don't know you, And well, now if they're saying no to you because you smell bad or you look like a third world throwaway youngin, that's on you. But if you're dressed right and your hair's combed and you smell right and you don't look like a hoodlum, man, when they say no, it's not against you. It's just a business transaction. And so here's a slogan for you I got from somebody else. It's not my slogan, but I love it and I live it and I'm going to use it every day till I die now. Some will, some won't. So what? Someone's waiting. Who's next? I've gotten to the place, guys, that I do not care if they say yes or no, but please tell me now because I got to go.
You got all kind of rhyming over there. You're gonna be the next. You're gonna be the next rapper for us, huh?
I just, it is what it is, man. And get to the place, man, where you're confident in what you do, sell it, quote the tickets high, and offer everything you can offer, and you'll get $2,000 average tickets.
Lindy put Dr. Seuss. All right. Before we jump off here again, you can go check out christmaslights.io/A. I also put it in there. But before we jump off here, very motivating. I needed this. This last week was tough. Thanks, guys. What are some words of encouragement before we jump off here?
Hey, guys, just remember why you started what you're doing. Keep your why in front of you all the time. Always keep it on your dashboard. Keep it on your phone. Have it where you can find it. And your why should be big enough that it overcomes any adversity you face. Your why will be your driver to keep you going.
So what's your why? Again, check out christmaslights.io. Tomorrow night is Monday night. We also have Monday Night Marketing. If you want to go check that out, you can check it out through King of Pressure Washing or Christmas Lights. But other than that, I hope you all have an amazing week this week. And it is June 1st. So go out there and have an amazing June. And I hope to see you all in Utah in a couple weeks. See ya. Hang on.